So I'm going to talk about Bernie. I haven't talked about Bernie in God forever. We haven't even mentioned him really, unless it is to criticize the foreign policy that is extremely pro-NATO, regurgitating the Biden administration. But I had to address this because I mean, I can believe it. It's just so sad how so many people are still on this hope porn and are still waiting for somebody to save them. And it's just the same with the Trump supporters and Elon Musk supporters and the Bernie supporters. They want somebody to save them. They want somebody to come in and swoop them like Superman and say, I got you, baby. I'm going to save you. And it's like, that is not what's going to happen. The only people that give a shit about other people are people who are working class, are people who are part of the same struggle. These people, they don't care. Or they have been, threatened or just accustomed to it. And I'm not trying to say he's been threatened to diminish him of any responsibility, because in spite of that, I just told Pasta this earlier, if you can't handle the fire, get out of the kitchen. And Pasta loves saying that because he is a cook. And so it's just, to me, like, if you're going to be a journalist, I tell people this, if you're going to be a journalist, you better be ready to be smeared. You better be ready to be attacked. You better be ready for all of things. It's not supposed to be a pleasant ride here. If you're going to be a politician, the same thing. So the fact that these people think that Bernie running again, I'll vote for Bernie till he's dead. Oh, it's one more time. We'll give it. It's ridiculous. It's like Charlie Brown kicking the football again.
Yep.
Right.
I'm not going to move it. You promise, Lucy?
So I'm just going to quickly go over the opinion pieces, right? So look at all the media, the mainstream media. You have to look at what the media is covering and how they're covering it. All of the mainstream media that smeared Bernie. Remember, the Washington Post put out like how many pieces in one day of Bernie? They're all like talking about him in a positive way. Why the hell would they be doing that right now at this stage in the game? You tell me. From what we know about corporate media, why are they positively talking about Bernie? Here's the New York Times. Opinion, still feeling the burn. Washington Post was actually the one who broke this story. Sanders has not ruled out another run for president if Biden doesn't. Notice the if Biden doesn't. And then you have the Washington Post who smeared Bernie talking about this, giving him publicity. Remember when they had the pictures that were extremely anti-Semitic with him and money all over, cartoonish? Like, yeah, recall that and tell me why all of a sudden that shifted. CNN Politics, of course, went on, and that's what we're going to look at in this next article. Top Sanders advisor, who is that advisor who's still close to him? Shakir. Whose ties is he still within? The Center for American Progress. And of course, they say he hasn't ruled it out. Okay, so here it is. The campaign manager of Senator Bernie Sanders' 2020 run for president sent a memo Wednesday addressed to allies of the Vermont Independent, informing them that Sanders has not ruled out a presidential run in 2024. The memo obtained by CNN is written by Shakir, who still serves as a close political advisor to Sanders, offers up a list of polls that show Sanders remains popular with voters across the country and in key swing states. It also offers up talking points for Sanders surrogates about his political future, including what to say if asked if they would support the senator should he challenge President Joe Biden in the Democratic primary in 2024 under a banner called...
Another fake one, fam?
Exactly. We're going to talk about that because I know you want to talk about that. Called Close Cold Guidance. Shakir makes it clear that Sanders is open to a third run for president. In the event of an open 2024 Democratic primary, Senator Sanders has not ruled out another run for president. So we advise you answer any questions about 2024 with that in mind. So there it is. They laid it out for you. Pasta.
Yep.
I want to read your tweet. I'm going to read mine, and then I want to read your tweet and ask you what it means. What do you mean by that? I said the fact that the New York Times, the WAPO, and the mainstream media are talking positively about another potential Sanders run should tell you everything you need to know about that nothing would fundamentally change because presidents don't run this country. The intelligence and military apparatus do, the Mickey Mat, as Glory Jones loves to say. And this is what we're talking about here. There is a reason why this is happening. Joe Biden's numbers, as we will talk about later, are literally the lowest. They're like less than 40% of people approve of Joe Biden. They were making a big deal when it was Trump, but look at Joe Biden's numbers. It's not getting any better. So obviously they're going to try to use sheep herder Bernie Sanders to try to get these progressives. He's meeting with Chris.
Go get him.
Of Christian Smalls, who just achieved, the Amazon union work with a bunch of organizers, which is something okay to applaud. But see, we're in the system where we're not going to fix that. And the Democratic operatives are trying to co-opt unions because that's what they do. They've been doing this. So they're making their rounds. They're trying to get these progressives in the bag. Pasta, your tweet.
Go ahead, you can read it.
Okay, you said, why in the hell would you saps think that Bernie Sanders will run as an independent in 2024 when he's a get in line capitulating Democrat? Face it, there's nothing independent about the senator. Jackie Page, dirtbag leftist, said, couldn't agree more. It's ludicrous to think Bernie, my good friend Joe Biden Sanders, is anything but a DNC highly controlled party Dem. There's nothing independent there. He's never going to cross the DNC. How can anyone think he would? It's exhausting. Just want to hear your comments on that.
Well, Jackie Pagao summed it up perfectly over there at the end of the day. He isn't. I mean, he's just a straight capitulating, bend the knee to the party Democrat, and in 2016, he was a totally different candidate in 2020 when he decided to buy into the culture wars and, kind of repeat the rhetoric of Chuck the Schmuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi by saying that Donald Trump was the most sexist, racist, bigoted, disgusting president of all times and stuff like that, instead of concentrating on the worker issues that he was always there with and that. And when he said that stuff, he was pretty much drawing lines and being divisive and saying that anybody who follows Donald Trump for whatever reason is pretty much a racist, sexist piece of, garbage. But yet my friend Joe Biden over here, who's had even a worse record than Donald Trump, and even let's say if it's worse, let's say it's less, it's still awful. It's not like he stood for anything. He stood for being a team sports player. He's been awful with the real world wars. The real wars, not just the cultural wars, the real wars, meaning his talks about, he was, we're going to stop Yemen, but doesn't call out Joe Biden for the extra weapons they've been given to MBS and what's going on with the new UAE relationship and everything, United Arab Emirates. It's just ridiculous. Do we see how he is about Putin? He supported Navalny. I mean, he's been awful at that. He was just terrible around the elections. He pointed out, ways to cheat, like talking about early counting and just saying what's going to happen. He was there to convince a lot of people. He capitulated completely. Remember the CARES Act? He voted for that too as well. Where was him and Oz's favorite candidate, Elizabeth Warren, standing up against that? So, I mean, he's just a completely different candidate. He's a Democrat. He bent the knee a long time, whether he was threatened or not, doesn't make a difference. He's been compromised. And to think that he's an independent or that you should even vote for him as a Democrat is ludicrous and just beyond ridiculous. It's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and it's expecting different results. And to see another theater played out with Joe Biden versus Bernie Sanders, I don't want it.
Yeah,
Hard
it's
pass.
theater.
Hard pass.
It's his good friend Joe, as she mentioned. Just a couple of other opinions from Steph G's Queen. I fucking love that Bernie Sanders does all this union work and continues on that arc, but I will not be voting for Bernie Sanders in Democratic primaries for POTUS ever again. Psyop's sister said, I'm so fucking ready to donate $27 of my paycheck every week to the third Bernie Sanders campaign so he can lose the primary again and mobilize his supporters to vote for Kamala Harris.
Nice.
Nick said, Bernie Sanders and Ro Khanna introduced legislation to end the U.S. support for the genocide in Yemen under Donald Trump. It miraculously passed the House and Senate, then Trump vetoed it. Why hasn't Bernie Sanders drafted another bill to end the genocide under Biden? Because it's not politically expedient to do so, yep. Nick, because he doesn't have to pretend to hate Joe Biden as much anymore because he is working cohesively with the same foreign policy of the establishment because it was all for show. Trump bad. Biden is one of the worst presidents in history. He will go down in the history books as one of the worst presidents we've ever had. And the Democrats aren't saying anything. And yes, a lot of people point out to you, Pasta, when you said that, well, Bernie's an independent he just caucuses with the Democrats. At this point, there is no difference between Bernie Sanders and any other Democrat, save the rhetoric, the fact that he talks about unions and the fact that he talks about these progressive things. But at the end of the day, it's the same thing with AOC, is he's not really pushing for it. He's not really doing anything to change the system structurally. And so it all becomes theatrical. And what irritates me, Pasta, is this segment of the TMZ progressive media still, and this is why they watch these people. This is why they watch these people, because it is hope porn. It's all about Bernie Sanders. It's all about voting for Nina Turner. It's all about the same bullshit that you could have been talking about 7 years ago instead of, of like, I mean, I don't know where they were 7 years ago, but you know what I mean? They're very young. I get it. But at the same time, it's like, that was the moment, okay? You had till about 2017. After that, after we saw the truth in 2018 about the AOC, and then 2020 revealed every single thing you needed to know about the Bernie Sanders campaign and how it got entirely co-opted and how many of us were smeared for calling it out. There is no going back. Like it's not going to change. He's not going to save you. Nothing will change because this is a systemic issue. So they put out this poll, and that you can see who watches this kind of show, right? Like, would you support Bernie Sanders if he runs in 2024? At that moment, they had 6,299 votes. I don't know what it is now. 63% to 37%. 63% of people would support. And Primo Radical said, yeah, won't it be awesome to see him endorse the centrist candidate again? Because that's exactly what he's going to do. He endorsed Hillary Clinton. He endorsed Joe Biden. When his supporters were asking him, begging him to run third party, he did it. When we were asking him and begging him to oppose the invalid election because the primaries, both of them, were 100% absolutely manipulated. Everybody knows that. If you have any sense of any truth at all, you know that they were rigged against Bernie Sanders. It was in WikiLeaks in 2016 how they did it. Do not tell me that that's a conspiracy. That is a fact, and that is a fact we got. Okay, so to actually ignore the fact that we don't have fair elections in this country and just put your hope porn and say, well, I'll get my shirt out and my pins and all my Bernie Sanders memes out because it's fun to be let down again. Like, you're a fucking moron. And like if you're still feeding your audience to this, what?
I was gonna say, I'm gonna put my Bernie coffee cup on my Twitter.
I mean, I just can't. I mean, and the Misty said it really well. The results of this are endlessly depressing. Some people never learn, and they don't, and they haven't learned. And I hate the fact that we're even talking about this, because we haven't talked about this stuff in forever, right? Because we did this years ago. We started out with candidates. We started out in electoral politics. We started out, and through electoral politics, we found out we don't have fair elections. So I would be dishonest and disingenuous to sit here and give you hope porn just for clicks about a potential Sanders run. But that's how these people make money all over this Bernie Sanders sphere. So they have to do it. And it's just so it's such a recipe that they do the same thing, all the crystal balls and the Kyle Kalinskis. This is what they do. And they do this because it gets them money, it gets them clout, and they're gonna talk about this the whole I'm so glad I'm
still have that hope porn. They really believe that Bernie Sanders is their disciple coming back to save them.
Yeah, man. Some believe it, really and some do it.
Some
because the money, the views are there, right? Yeah, it's hard to tell now what it is, and to me, it's irrelevant at this point because look at you have to look at the history of what happened, dude. You can't ignore what happened prior to now, right? And these people, they live off of this hope porn. I'm so sorry, guys. Bernie said, I don't care if you like Bernie or not. He's not going to save you. We don't have a fair election system.
Harder, fam. If we
don't have fair elections.
You ever see that meme when they go the guy, the think meme, when he goes like this? You ever wonder why some of those progressive channels never got demonetized and some have?
Yeah, right?
Think about it. You know why? Because some of those channels, they'll never talk about the Great Reset. They'll never talk about the nuances, what's going on. They'll never even mention the name Klaus Schwab.
They won't talk about the pandemic. If you haven't talked about COVID, I'm sorry, I lost respect for you. There's a lot of people that haven't talked about COVID. People, you'd be surprised.
Yeah. Hey, I've seen a lot of conservative media stay away from Ukraine, Russia too, as well.
Oh, yeah.
So let's just talk about that. But today, ladies and gentlemen, we have an amazing guest for our next segment. And
just
go ahead.
one last, I just wanted to show how what Bernie did and who you would be voting for, by the way. His plan to push Joe Biden left, how he told people to vote for Joe Biden, how the pro-Sanders group was rebranding into pragmatic progressives, and why he didn't want his delegates attacking Biden on Twitter. That pissed me off. So, again, we have more important things to cover right now, but I just wanted to tell people, like, this is just ridiculous at this point. Like, we're at a point where the United States, okay, is sending military aid and weapons to Nazis in Ukraine that are killing both Ukrainians and Russians. We are at a point where the United States lied about a global pandemic. Okay. We're at a point where they continue to lie and manipulate and censor media to their own narrative to manage. And yet these people still think we can solve this problem by voting. Like, get the hell out of here. We're past it.
Yeah.
We can welcome our guest now.
Okay. So, and yeah, fam, ditto. You don't hear Bernie Sanders talking about the Great Reset too much, but he's talking about how bad Putin is.
Right.